and welcome. We're the team at Vendor Society, and we're sharing bite-sized vendor tips and ideas in our interview series. I'm Katy Luxem, the Senior Content Manager at Vendor Society and eCommerce Nurse, and I'm here with my colleague, Dani Thompson, our Senior Marketing Manager. Today, we're going back to basics in this interview to talk about something called the Amazon Flywheel. This longstanding Amazon ideal takes into account Amazon's customer-centric philosophy, but knowing how it works can also be a recipe for success for your brand and business on Amazon. So super interesting topic. Let's dive in with a few fast questions for Dani. Hey, Dani.
Hi.
So to start, there's kind of a metaphor in calling the system the flywheel because in machinery, it's something that's hard to get going, but easier to move once it's kind of working and rolling. Anyone who's sold on Amazon can see how this would apply. So from your perspective, how does this work for brands on Amazon and kind of what is that flywheel piece?
I think some of it comes back to the three pillars of Amazon, right? Price, selection, availability. If a brand got these things right historically, they would kind of then tip into that flywheel. But things have evolved a bit more now, and brands need to put more in my opinion, to get that wheel moving. It's true, though, that once you start the wheel moving and get the sales going, then the reviews come, the exposure and more sales. But nowadays, brands do need to be careful on Amazon of the potential sticks that could trip up that flywheel, be it a bad review or competitor sabotage.
So it's basically that cycle that they need to get into for success. Can you tell us again, what are the pieces of the flywheel?
So selection, it starts with selection, which in turn brings more customers due to having more choice, which brings more sellers as they all want a piece of the action of the more customers. Then you add in low operating costs, which in turn allow Amazon to offer better pricing. And there within you have yourself the Amazon flywheel.
Very interesting. How can brands get this moving and kind of jumpstart their business in the Amazon ecosystem specifically?
I believe in building strong foundations and acting with integrity. Those are some of the things that we work on at eCommerce Nurse. We would start with a solid product, which works well. And then you build out your listing to be retail ready. Everything that I've spoken about in other blog posts, but your good content, your good images, your A+, your brand store, your brand story widgets. Then you can kind of instigate some reviews by using Amazon Vine. And then it's time to add some speed to the wheel, and get it spinning with an ads campaign. We suggest doing that alongside promotions. You need to try which promotions are right for your brand, but initially it can be quite good to sacrifice some margin for sales to get that flywheel moving. You need the standout on the category pages, on the search pages, and you need to gain that momentum. And you can play with the price and slowly move it up to where you'd like to be once that momentum starts kicking in.
Interesting. So just thinking about this, is there something that brands or businesses do that can actually reverse this progress and slow down the flywheel? What should vendors or brands be watching out for when it comes to warning signs or how they can stop progress?
So this is Amazon, right? And any brand doing business on Amazon will know that there's always things ready to trip you up. So making sure you have a backup plan in place in case your account or best-selling listing gets suspended. You need to be ready to tackle any bad reviews because a bad review can just sink your product, especially if it gets lots of likes on it. So you need a plan in place to tackle those bad reviews, whether you sync them with lots of buying reviews or you reply to it openly or you tweet the product. You need to be ready. Also, know what to do if you suspect competitor sabotage. We're seeing some of that. I know, Katy, we spotted an Amazon forum where a seller had actually received a death threat from another seller. So you guys need to be ready just to tackle those as they come up. And also, my advice is don't assume that worked well last week or last month or last year will work well tomorrow. I would suggest always adopting a principle of testing and learning, always looking at how you can improve your listings, doing right by the customer and being the best vendor you can. If you're operating with integrity and you've got good product, that's going to set you along on the right path, but also not resting on your laurels and just making sure that your listings can be as good as they can be and you're supporting them.
Definitely a lot goes into it. It does seem like Amazon is always making it a little more difficult to succeed, and it's always becoming just a little harder to compete with the number of competitors in the marketplace. I remember the flywheel and seeing it back when I worked at Amazon in 2007. So it's been around for a super long time. Does this flywheel still apply currently, do you think, or has it changed?
I think in its basis, it still applies, right? You just need to spin a bit more on that wheel to get it going. And for sure, once you find a niche product, it's still possible to climb the rankings. Even in a saturated market, it's still possible to have a piece of the pie. And so to speak, if you have a credible product and money to put into marketing, you can get that wheel moving. Also, like, things are slightly different. Like, if you have a strong brand off Amazon now, that can really help with customer awareness as Amazon becomes more competitive. It's important to consider what you can do off Amazon to drive traffic to your Amazon's listings to get ahead of your customers. So you need to just essentially think outside of the box, or think outside of Amazon as well, of what you can do to drive your product.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I mean, certainly influencers weren't around when this came about, but things are always changing. So really great information. And I think the Flywheel is really interesting. So thanks for sharing.
Thanks, Katie. Nice to discuss with you too.
Thank you for listening to the Vendor Society interview series by eCommerce Nurse. We are a boutique agency specialising in account management, marketing and consulting for vendors and sellers on Amazon. For more interviews, roundtables, blogs and information about all our services, visit vendorsociety.com and ecommercenurse.com.